So we're here at the NFL ceremony after week number 6, and my MVP of the week, who's going to be winning the Quaker Trophy, is going to be none other than Baker Mayfield. Congratulations, Baker, on your Quaker Trophy. Hold that thing up high. Hopefully you'll be getting a Lombardi very soon, but I'll be holding it like the Stanley Cup out here. But Baker Mayfield was awesome, even with the injuries of the receiver. He put the team on his back in many ways, running through dudes, making insane passes. You win the Quaker Baker Trophy of the week. Speaking of which, Quaker Oatmeal, your proud affiliation of the NFL. Get your local box at your local retailers for the low price of 52 payments of maybe 25 cents. It's a bargain. Hey, if you need to finance, 72 months financing, 0% interest. Quaker Oatmeal, amazing product. I can throw my oatmeal on the ground now too. No, I love oatmeal. What's cool and what's going on, by the way? I hope you have an amazing day though. Geez Louise. I think this week, when you're talking about the MVPs, Baker Mayfield offense, defense, the hitman, Nate Landman, if you don't already know, he is probably my favorite player in the NFL. I love Nate Landman so much. He was just a monster all over the field once again, making play after play. My special teams player of the week, I'm going to give it to Dicker the kicker. I got to go Dicker, man. He was unbelievable. I mean, Jake Money Moody, he really got the name back last night, even other than the block kick. He was on point, clutch, and got the deal done. But I do have to go and give it to Dicker, the kicker, who was unbelievable this week and also hit a game-winning field goal for them. Went, 5 for 5? He's only missed like 6 field goals in his entire career. That's unbelievable. But you're here for the mock draft, right? Nah, we're here for the Quaker Oatmeal. That's what I'm here for. We got this mock draft, though, and I'm ready to go. Let's go!
Oh! Oh, yes!
Speaking of which, Scadaboo could have gotten this MVP trophy too. Like, Scadaboo was insane as well. But on to the Jets, Jets at this number 1 overall pick. I know we're picking a number 1 overall. We're taking a quarterback. That's just probably what's going to happen. Ty Simpson. He's from The Simpsons, all right? He's Gomer. I don't even know. I didn't watch The Simpsons. I don't even know the main character's name. But either which way, yeah, I know. I need to watch The Simpsons. I watched Family Guy when I, later on, but never really got into The Simpsons. So that's something I'm going to have to check out at some point. But Ty Simpson here is going to be our Simpson at quarterback. We need somebody to be the franchise guy once and for all. Please win. And stop trading away all these quarterbacks either. Like, give them some time. That's the big thing. You know what? The more I watch Ty Simpson, too, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Sam Darnold in many ways. There are some characteristics that I feel like are similar to Sam Darnold. The way his scrambles, like his ability to scramble and stuff, like his athleticism, too, his arm talent, similar in that vein. So Simpson, to me, the more I watch him, I did watch the Mizzou tape. He had like 1 or 2 throws that I'd say weren't great, but besides that, he was pretty on the money in that one versus tough Missouri defense as well. We're going to talk about a guy on that defensive line here later on at day 2 who's a good football player. But with the Jets, it's clear as day. Get a quarterback, right? Maybe he can get a Quaker Trophy of the week. That'd be pretty nice. On to the Titans, though, number 2. This is an easy one. It's Ruben Bain bringing some pain off the edge of Miami. The Hurricane needs some pain off the edge for the Titans. They need some help in the coaching room. No doubt about it. They'll be searching this offseason. We'll see what they can do. But right now, Ruben Bain would be a nice addition to their pass rush and ramp it up some more. Then we go on to the Cleveland Browns. Number 3. You're picking a number 3. I'm going quarterback. I'm going with Fernando Mendoza. I wasn't blown away with Mendoza this week, but I thought he was solid. And those back shoulder throws that he hits, the sideline routes, like it's like he can close his eyes and hit those at this point. Like, he is unbelievable. I think I said like 5 times. That was like 6 now, but like literally, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? But he is unbelievable at hitting those. That it's insane, and I think he has got all the tools you look for. The arm talent, accuracy is pretty solid, all 3 levels of the football field. He can read the field as well. He gets the ball out on time and would be a much-needed addition. If you're picking a number 3 overall, we'll see what happens in Shedeur. I still can't wait to see Shedeur Sanders. So that's why I hesitate a little bit on this one, but I'm a Hoosier grad. I think Mendoza's a beast. Let's bring it. On to the New Orleans Saints here at number 4. Number 4 we go, and I'm taking Arvell Reese. What? You're like, are you kidding me? A linebacker at number 4 overall in the NFL draft? Have you ever even watched the NFL draft before? Do you even know what NFL draft means? Arvell Reese is a different dude. I'm just saying that right now. He might be the best player in the draft. Like, seriously. He's got to have long arms, dude. He has got 33-inch plus arms, I'm guessing. He's got power. He can rush and bull rush people, all right? Like, that is how good of a talent this guy is. And yeah, you're going to start hearing Micah Parsons with this dude. He doesn't quite have that level of athleticism, but boy, does he have more power. Like, he's got power for days, and he has length. He's got good size. It wouldn't shock me if a team says, we're drafting this guy to be the next Micah Parsons on our defensive line. Unbelievable. Arvell Reese takes it to a different level. When you don't think you can take it to another level, he takes it to another level. I'm going BPA. He can play linebacker, global situational edge with them. I'm just rocking the best player, one of the best players in the draft. That's really what it is. On to the Bengals here, and I'm going to take a tackle. I'm going to take Spencer Fanu. We'll figure it out. Fanu, put him at guard, put him at right tackle. Just ultimately put him at left tackle and cut Orlando Brown. I'm down with doing something like that. They just have to really improve the offensive line this offseason. That has to be the big thing the Bengals go in and say, once and for all, we're going to figure this thing out. I know they've tried to invest into it. I got to give them some credit there, but ultimately, they still need to invest in it. It's still a big problem, and we'll invest here with Spencer Fanu. Menu. On to the Raiders here, Robin Williams. You got to love Robin. On to Peter Woods here, the edge rusher, or the interior defensive lineman, pardon me, but he does a little edge rushing as well. Like, dude can play across the defensive line. I had a tough one with this one. It was between him and Jordan Tyson. I love Tyson, but Peter Woods is a fantastic player too, and they need trench play, offense and defense. I just can't ignore that. It's such a critical need for this Raiders team that we're gonna invest in here with Peter Woods. So it is what it is. Gotta do it, man. On to the Miami Dolphins. Mike Tyson. It's going to be Jordan Tyson. I love Jordan Tyson, and Mike Tyson. Jordan Tyson is going to be the pick, clearly, because they could use another weapon in there. It's not their top need. I think corner is more than likely their top need going into the offseason, or actually, maybe a really good nose tackle that can give them some help with that youth. Play Benito Jones a little bit more. That could be an option too. But ultimately, I do think that Kenny Grant and Phillips and Biggers going into year number 2, they should get a little stronger, get a little bit better. Got to invest here in this wide receiving room as well. And I think he is the best player on the board at this point. Number 7 overall to get Jordan Tyson. I like calling him Tyson. I don't know why I say that, but I just think it's fun to say it that way. I'm going to lock it in. And we're going to go receiver here too for the Cardinals. I'm going Mekhi Lemon. I think Mekhi Lemon is another one. He's right neck and neck at this point with Jordan Tyson. And Mekhi Lemon's no slouch, man. He is, whether it's a slot phase in the corner of the end zone, making plays consistently. Had another one this week. He's just such a good wide receiver. He's a great route runner. Give you a little Amon-Ra St. Brown vibes. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Those are the comps you're going to get thrown out there. But you pair him up with Marvin Harrison Jr., perfect combination, what they could have in Michael Wilson, too. On to the Vikings. Skull. We're taking Mansour Delane, cornerback, to be another outside corner into this room. And remember, Murphy can play in the slot. So Rodgers, Murphy, Delane, that's the new grouping, that's the new pairing, that's the lockdown trio in there for Brian Flores in this defense. Carolina, boom, keep pounding. They kept pounding this week. They kept drumming versus those Cowboys. It wasn't over, they said, and what a week it was for Bryce Young in this football team. Rico Dowdle is a beast. David Bailey is the pick, going to add more edge talent with Nick Gordon, Prince Lumamiellen, getting younger, Pat Jones. This is a group. I can't pass up Bailey at this point. To me, he is just one of the best players in the draft as well. At 10 overall, you're saying, well, does he have run defense? We'll figure it out. I still think he's better. He's gotten better in that department. He's not going to be like a monster run defender. But Nick Gordon's a good run defender. They can figure that sort of thing out. I'm not like panicking. Bailey is a monster as a pass rusher. Really is going to be the Brian Burns type of replacement that they've been looking for. Just such a difficult one-on-one cover. Romello Heights, another one that's tough. You're going to see him very soon as well, a little bit later on. But on to the G-men here. We're G'ing up for offensive tackle, offensive guard, however you want to play Maui Noah. I know. I got it. It's for the kosher, man. I love Maui Noah. I think he is the best tape in this draft class as a tackle. Maybe he doesn't have the highest upside, but ultimately he is a great plug-and-play starter for this football team. Whether it's Jermaine Illuminor coming back at right tackle and you want to plug him in at right guard, for Greg Van Roten, either which way, you got to figure out that right side O-line. Francis Maui Noah is just, it's there. I mean, I can see a statue already in the Giants nation for a Fanu or a Maui Noah. On to the Ravens. Maybe a linebacker. Sonny Styles is something I would definitely contemplate here too. But Baltimore, it's edge. It's Kedrick Falk. This is a slam dunk pick for them. They just traded Daviowe. Now they go get themselves a replacement here and build the defensive line. Plus, he can be a good run defender for them too. Help catch this Ravens team. They need a shrugs in this offense. This defense badly, right? Call him up, please. Can you still play football? We need you. They need some more pass rush. Folk can do that. On to the Cowboys. I'm taking corner Jermod McCoy. Can't wait for him to return this season. The Texas Volunteer, Colton Hood, I hear been playing really, really well. I still been meaning to watch Colton Hood out there, but Jermod McCoy is going to be the pick for the Cowboys to help out their secondary. It's not been great, and it still is an area that, to me, is the top need for the Cowboys going into the offseason. A must improve. Diggs is not really the same player right now with all the injuries and stuff. They need help. Next on the clock, the Houston Texans. Where? The interior offensive line, a big need, but I decide to switch gears. I'm putting this thing into 5th gear instead of 4th gear. Caleb Downs, safety, Ohio State, the Ohio State University. I'm going to pair him up there in that back end with Bullock as that 1-2 punch and call it a day. That combination, too. As Bullock is your more free, rangy safety, Downs is more your hybrid, down in the box, can play in this sort of joker role. I think that's a stylistic one right there for the ages with your elite secondary already booming up here in Caleb Downs. Whoo! I'm signing up all day for that one. On to the Rams. I'm going wide receiver. What? Am I doing a double take out here? Carnell Tate? Yo, hold on, because let me explain this one here real quick, because I've been thinking about this one a lot, and I was thinking to myself, okay, the way I see this here is Devontae Adams, 34 years old, and he's been playing really good this season. However, you know what I mean? Like, they could move on from him if they really, I don't think they would, but I'm just saying, what if, especially with the injuries that they've had in this wide receiving room throughout the years, Carnell Tate comes in this room and you put him kind of behind Devontae Adams for a season. He'll work in as the season goes along and start playing more and more snaps. You got yourself that future wide receiver 2 to pair along with Puka. Oh, baby, I'm lining up for this one. Well, I'm just saying, I think Carnell Tate's the top 15 player in this draft. Boom, shakalaka goes the dynamite once again. On to, and a shout out the NBA Jam. Whoa, man, that was the comment of the day. I was like, woo, I forgot about that. Caden Proctor. Oh, look at that guy. Oh, he's like in the water boy. I'm telling you, you don't want this guy coming at you with a head of steam as a wide receiver. Proctor is going to be the pick here for the Broncos, which you also might say, oh, that's a little bit of a puzzling pick as well. But listen. No, you don't have to listen. Do whatever you please don't listen. Caden Proctor, though, I think he is somebody that, with this offensive line, they are getting older. And at some point, they need to start investing in some youth there on that offensive line. And Proctor, he could play guard for this team. I don't know if I feel comfortable as him a guard right now, just because his leverage isn't the greatest. I do think he's a tackle, and that's fine. McGlinchey has played well. He has. However, could they move on from him this offseason if they needed to save a little bit of money? Absolutely they could. And even if they don't, which I wouldn't say they need to, you could have Proctor be your swing tackle for a season. He's a super young player. You let him develop on that right side of the offensive line and be your future right tackle. And it's just kind of like a plug and play situation there for the future. That's really what I'm looking at, trying to get younger, get better on this offensive line. Even though it is a good offensive line, it's just, once again, if you're not investing in it enough, you're going to start saying, in 2-3 years, this offensive line isn't so good. We're starting to deal with problems. So that's why I think it's a really big thing that they start investing in the offensive line. Team that has invested in the offensive line, the Commanders, and they're still coming along there, but I'm going Cashius Howell. He's been such a disruptive force. Even though he only has like 30-inch plus, around that 30-inch mark, it is a tough sell on how high does he end up going in the draft, but I don't think it's an issue for him when watching him on film. Yeah, it's versus college players, but still some of the great competition. He's been dominant in the run game as well as a pass rusher, so I'm going to go take Cashius Howell. Definitely lock him into that edge rushing room. They need some more help there for the future. On to the Steelers. Oh, we got one for you. Darian Mensah, the Duke quarterback, formerly from Tulane. If you know me, I love Darian Mensah. Huge fan. I go recommend watching that tape as well. Just watched that one today, and oh man, Mensah, he was laser hot in that first half. Like even especially in the second quarter, he was on fire. He just couldn't miss. In the second half, they cooled down. Just in general, the whole game kind of cooled down and went to more of a defense. JKS made an insane throw in the first half. We'll talk about him in a few years. He cooled off in the second half majorly. Had some tough throws there. But anyway, he's another guy I think is going to be crazy. But Mensah, he doesn't have elite arm talent. I will say that. But he has incredible touch. And he's got enough arm talent to get the job done. To me, he is very similar a prospect to like Jordan Love coming out. I think he's actually more polished than Jordan Love is coming out as a prospect. I don't think he needs to sit for multiple years either. I mean, if you can let him sit for a season or two, that'd be great. But I think Mensah is just so talented. He's so accurate. His decision-making is pretty solid. He'll have a lapse or two. Even in the Colorado game, he had one lapse and more of just like a misread. He didn't see a linebacker coming across the field and threw it into an extra tight window. He doesn't quite have that arm, as I mentioned before, to fit those into like laser beam. Like he's not Sorsby level of arm talent or Lenora Sellers. But man, oh man, I think Mensah is way more accurate. I think he's a good, solid processor as well for a young guy. Big fan of Darian Mensah. I'm going to do a video on him at some point. I got to get around to that because he is just so underrated right now. He may come back at Duke because he has potential to be a top 5 selection, in my opinion. He just doesn't have that insane arm. But besides that, there's not much this guy doesn't have. Once again, Jordan Love-esque type of player. On to the Bears here. I thought about Jeremiah Love, but I went Sonny Styles instead. They could use a nice linebacker to help. If they lose Tremaine Edmonds after this season, which they could cut him, they need somebody else in there who gives like Sonny Styles. And I think Styles has the ability to be a really good cover man too for them. Can cover up on tight ends, can play up at the line, can blitz really well. Definitely think Sonny Styles is a formidable top 20 selection. If it weren't for Arvell Reese, I think we'd be talking about Sonny Styles a lot more in this draft. And Styles is one heck of a player too. On to the New England Patriots here at number 20. A lot of different areas the Patriots could go, but I decided to lean on the edge. I love LT Overton. I don't feel like he gets enough love in this draft class. And even from me at times, like I'd consider putting him higher. There are some guys with higher upside than Overton, so I get that. But he is a dude that just has such strong hands at the point of attack. He consistently sheds. He's not the most explosive guy or anything like that, but he's got enough athleticism to get the job done. He is somebody that I feel so high on as a floor. I just doubt he is a bad football player in the NFL. Very, very solid player that is going to make an impact for this defense and the defensive line. On to the 49ers. I'm going to go ahead and take Caleb Lomu to be the developmental left tackle of the future. Now, he is a guy that I do think could slide into guard right away if they needed him to. Like if they have injuries or whatever, then you could put him inside a guard. Either which way, have their tackle developing there behind Trent Williams just gives them that guy of the future. Lomu, also a young player, so I'm not worried about him sitting a year and developing there and continue to develop on his overall technique. But I do think his hand technique is pretty good. It's just sometimes oversets and things like that. Those are things you can learn from. But he's got the athleticism, the reactive athleticism as well. A very good lateral mover to be able to hang out on an island. And in the wide zone system there for Shanahan. On to the Cleveland Browns. Back on the clock after going Fernando Mendoza. We're going Chris Bell, adding a receiver in for this football team. They got a case of the whoopsies, the case of the drops, right? Let's go ahead and get Chris Bell, who also has a little case of the drops here and there. I know, I'm sorry. But, I'm just saying, like, Chris Bell, this guy could be the next A.J. Brown if he develops, and he's had a heck of a season thus far, too. He can get open. He's a route runner. I know Treylon Burks. It's either like Treylon Burks, A.J. Brown. What do you get? I think he's a better prospect than Burks coming. I think he's more polished with his route running and whatnot. I think he's more fluid, a more explosive athlete as well. Like, this guy turns it on. Like, you get him on a slant, and he catches it. He's gone. So Bell, add another weapon into this offense. That's really what I'm trying to do here. And Harold Vane's been amazing too. And obviously you got Judkins. Keep him healthy. That's the big thing, right? And he got a little banged up. And then on to the Detroit Lions here at number 23. I'm taking a corner, Avion Terrell, the corner from Clemson, who's I think he could slide into the slot for them. He could play on the outside. Depends if you want to move Terrion Arnold into the slot because he has that versatility. Avion Terrell may be pigeonholed a little bit. Some people are going to call him a slot corner. Some people are going to say he's going to play on the outside. It depends on the scheme. And for the Lions, he could play a little bit of either. So putting him out there with that group with DJ Reed, Terrion Arnold, and now Avion Terrell as that little grouping of 3 with Enos and his injury history, that's just something that's tough to bank on. And their depth has been tested a lot of times. And even when they've been out there, Arnold struggled at points. So they need to still invest in this room. I think that Terrell would help out in that department. On to the Bolts here at number 24 overall. I'm going to go and take an offensive lineman, take Connor Lew. Whether or not he's a Harbaugh, Roman type is a good question, but I just say take the best offensive lineman available for this team. And Connor Lew, I think, would be a fantastic pick for this team. Lew adds that ability where he's going to be able to get out on the move a little bit more for this team and get to the second level, make those high-end blocks for Mario Hampton, and be a strong pass protector as well for Justin Herbert and this football team. And remember, when you have a good center, I feel like you get a good offensive line. Look through the years, man. I'm telling you, a good center, there's a relation with it. I think his center is underrated in the NFL. Eagles fly, Eagles fly. It's going to be Romello Height, the edge rusher from Texas Tech. Oh, the Red Raider. The Red Raiders have done it because they have one of the best defensive lines in football. And Romello Height is another one of these juiced up pass rushers, man. He's got a sneaky ball. I mean, he's not the most powerful player, but he can definitely surprise you and shock you with his hands. He's also a dude that can drop back into coverage for Vic Fangio, has the athleticism to do so. And he would be a little bit of a developmental guy, just like Nolan Smith in many ways. However, Romello Height has a lot of the tools you look for and enough length to get the job done out there. So bigging up Romello Height to juice up the pass rush, which has been a little bit weak there off the edge for the Eagles, especially considering in prior years. Josh Sweat definitely meant a lot to this defense line. He's been balling out over for Arizona. On to the Dallas Cowboys, back on the clock. And guess who's on the board still? Air Love. Jeremiah Love. I get it. Javonte Williams has been amazing this season behind a great offensive line, run-blocking offensive line, might I add. But Jeremiah Love, if they lose Javonte in free agency, because he could get a big contract. I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't shock me if he goes out and get a big contract elsewhere. And Jerry's like, all right, I'm not paying that much money. Let's go draft Jeremiah Love here, who's available at this point. I mean, if he's available at 26, I just think it's the process that makes sense. He really is the best player available, and he would be an instant impact for this football team that is, I do think they're trying to win right now, and Air Love would be able to help in that department, be that bell cow. On to the Bills at number 27 overall. I'm going C.J. Allen from Georgia. He is an instinctual run-defending linebacker that is just a tackle machine and going to help out this Bills defense and be the leader for them that they're well, Terrell Bernard is really the green dot, but you pair him up with Terrell Bernard as your 1-2 punch of the future. Dorian Williams is your third guy. I think that's a nice little combination there of three. Yeah, we're going to roll with that. I think, unfortunately, Matt Milano's injury history is caught up with him a little bit, right? It sucks because Milano's a great player. Tampa on the clock at 28. I'm going with edge rusher TJ Parker. I'm still trying to come around on TJ Parker. I'm not quite there just yet. I'm a little higher on some edge rushers, but I also understand the traits. And when you're going to the next level, some of those traits that Parker has, it's definitely translatable stuff. It just comes down to I want to see more production. I want to see better hand usage and not so reliant on strictly like a run down the chest or try to run around you toward a thing, because he just doesn't really have the bandita to do that. So he's just trying to run down people. And I need to see a little more nuance there with Parker, but definitely has the athleticism and the length to do so. I like Will Hill a lot there at Clemson. I think he's actually the better, more polished pass rusher on that defensive line besides Peter Woods. On to the Chiefs at 29, I'm taking tight end Kenyon Sadiq. Even though Sadiq has been a little up and down throughout the season, he's still an athletic monster. He can block his butt off and be a little Travis Kelce 2.0. Even though they had a little magic again this past week versus the Lions. Travis Kelce, man, he was pissing off there. Clearly, like, Brian Branch doesn't like this Kansas City Chiefs team. Well, I don't think he likes anybody out there. He's throwing punches all the way. Dude, I'm telling you, Brian, speaking of which, Brian Branch, I think he's been fined like 10 plus times now in his career, maybe more than that. The dude is rebellious. I love it, man. I can't blame you. I love being a little rebellious. Got to have that in you. But anyway, man, that's kind of crazy. But with the Chiefs, I just feel like that's BPA. If Travis Kelce ends up retiring and going on that love story trip, then do it. Boom. Moving on here to the Rams. I'm going to shock and ruffle some feathers here, I'm sure. But I am taking Brandon Sorsby. No, that's probably more. I don't know what that was, but I know it's a little bit of a head slapper here. Brandon Sorsby, I watched him this week again versus UCF. He's just got so much arm talent. I thought his processing was actually pretty good this week, too. I thought he made some really nice anticipatory throws along the sidelines. especially that one under pressure, that deep ball up the seam for a touchdown. Overall, he was very solid in this outing. Only missed like one or two passes. His decision making was solid. Sorsby is the ultimate draft and develop upside guy. He has the tools of Josh Allen. If you can hone that mental side and the mechanics, besides that one out, he had a little corner route that his mechanics were a little wonky. If he would have set his feet better, that thing would have been on time. He was bailed out by a pass interference that shouldn't have been called. Either which way, like if he can work on the mechanics a little bit, oh man, Sorsby could be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and you put him here with Sean McVay for a season to develop behind Matthew Stafford. Oh, I love Sorsby, man. I'm high on Sorsby. We'll see where he ends up on my quarterback rankings at the end of the season, but right now I'm very, very high on Sorsby and Mensah, some of these guys. Simpson's definitely climbing up my board for sure, but Sorsby going to be a nice developmental piece for this team with that elite upside. Indianapolis here, number 31 overall. I'm taking Drew Shelton. They've hit on Will Fries. They go back to this Penn State offensive line, go Drew Shelton to be the right tackle of the future. He does have right tackle experience, okay? So I'm trying to, no, I know. It's always tricky when you're projecting left tackle, right tackle guys, but he does have a little bit of experience there. I didn't watch his right tackle tape. It was like 3 years ago. I've watched his tape this year. I've watched his tape last year, and I'm very impressed with Shelton. He's a great mover. I think he's got good hands. He's got strong, powerful hands as well. And somebody that is he's like a Troy Fautanu build in many ways. But he doesn't quite have the athleticism of Fautanu maybe, but he's definitely a good athlete still. So I really like Shelton. He's just a guy that I think is being a little underrated right now and could be a great right tackle for this team in the future for Braden Smith, who's a free agent. They do have Travis Jones or Travis somebody, Jalen Travis from Iowa State in the 4th round they drafted. So we'll see about that, but he might be just a swing tackle for them. So I figured let's just continue to invest, and that's what the Colts, they do. Chris Ballard does a good job investing in the offensive line, and Shelton, I think, is just a very good player that is being underrated. On a Seahawks at number 32 to end up the first round, I'm taking Chase Besantis, the offensive lineman. Yeah, back-to-back guards? What? Yo, Besantis is a dog. He is so good. Oh my gosh. He's another guy I'm going to be doing a film study on as soon as I can. He's the left guard over there at Texas A&M. So you might say, well, what do we do? Zabel or Besantis over right guard? I'm guessing you would move Besantis over to right guard. I don't see why he couldn't be a right guard for them. That's something that comes down into train camp and talking to Besantis. But he's a great pass protector. I think he's also a decent run blocker too. He's got good size, great length for a guard. Overall, there's just not a lot of things that I hate watching, which is Chase Besantis. He fires me up when I watch him. He makes some really nice run blocks to set, and he works well with his offensive linemen, like in a way where some of these offensive linemen are just like looking to just destroy guys. I feel he's very methodical when he's working double teams and stuff. And it's just kind of a little nuanced stuff like that with Besantis that I really like. I think he's got good hands as a pass protector. So, yeah, we're going to improve this offensive line even more for Sam Darnold. Why not, right? And, hey, Zabel could even play center, right? He could play center for them, too. So, if they're still not ready to give up on Bradford or Haynes, and Bradford's played a little bit better over the past couple weeks, so I got to give him that. But still an area that I look at to improve. Sundell right now is the current starting center. That's another area they could upgrade. And we'll see. Maybe Sundell can be he's played decent. Again, he's coming along, and this is his first year starting, so I need to see more. This is maybe not the top need at this point, and Lucas was given a contract extension, so your offensive line has made significant strides. On to round number 2, the Jets back on the clock, where I'm going to go and take Kamari Ramsey. Enough snuff with our safety room. Let's fill that void with Kamari Ramsey, who I think is one of the top free safeties in this draft class. He can play up in the slot too. He can cover guys. He's a versatile dude, but I just think he is such a well-rounded football player. He's a good, solid tackler, and he is a smooth, fluid mover in space. He doesn't miss a whole ton of coverage assignments, or he doesn't have a whole ton of coverage busts behind him. I just don't find a whole ton of faults in Ramsey's game. He's not an elite athlete, but he's a very smooth athlete. He's got great size. I think his overall package that he brings is a very good starting safety in the NFL and something we need in the back end to help with some of the coverage busts. Let's just put it that way. I know we've had some coverage busts at linebacker too. That's been a problem. But anyway, on to the Titans here. And for the Tennessee Titans, we went Reuben Bain in the first round. I'm going to go get Denzel Boston to be a nice weapon for Cam Ward. I want to make sure we're investing in another wide receiver. So now Boston, IU Manor, going to be this new young core of wide receivers and weapons. Maybe you bring somebody else in, or if you wanted to keep Ridley for another season, I guess you could do that. But ultimately, get another weapon, or Chamar DK coming along too, right? He's a good weapon as well to add into that room to be that combination of three. Just got to continue to add help for Cam Ward, no doubt, in coaching. On to the Cleveland Browns here at 35. I'm taking offensive tackle Trevor Gooseby. Gooseby. I like that. It's a good name. Gooseby. I'm goozing with Gooseby. But I think he is a developmental tackle. And for the Browns, they need tackle clearly. I'm not super high on Gooseby, I'll be honest, but the traits are there. And I get it. I understand why people are high on Gooseby. I just don't know if he's got the athleticism that people are talking about. I don't know if I see that. Like, I see some athleticism. I just don't know if I see the redirecting ability and the overall agility in his game. Like, that's what I'm struggling with, and that's why I've continued to put him a little lower than maybe consensus. So I don't know. Again, I'm not the perfect scout or anything like that. There's a lot better scouts out there that know a lot, and they see Gooseby and they see those traits, and I understand that. He's got the length. He's got raw power for days. I just worry a little bit about that redirecting agility with Gooseby. And the balance, too, is not great. On to the Saints here at number 36. I am taking Jermaine Matthews Jr. from Ohio State, the Ohio State University. He's another guy that I feel like is being underrated a little bit because they got so many stars on that Ohio State defense. But Jermaine Matthews is a guy that consistently is just, he flashes every single game, something. And this past week versus Illinois, he had a couple of big-time plays, especially in the pass game, at a breakup that resulted in a pick. He is quick to trigger downhill, even coming off coverage. He can play up at the line. And he played in the slot this past week versus Illinois. He can play on the outside, though. He's primarily playing on the outside, but for the Saints, if you lose Alontae Taylor, well, Jermaine Matthews slides right into the slot and helps them out in the secondary. So I'm just feeling like, hey, Jermaine Matthews is a guy we need to start highlighting in the draft. He's got good length, too, for his size. I think he's got some decent length. So he can definitely make plays on the football and be another help in the secondary for this football team. On to the Bengals at number 37. I'm going to go ahead and take a corner here for a replacement for Cam Taylor-Britt, basically, with Will Lee III. He's another feisty cornerback that has got that dog mentality. He doesn't have the elite speed, and I do see defenders or wide receivers get behind him at times, but he's a guy that's just not going to give up on a play, and he's very good with getting his hands in and breaking up passes and stuff like that, and very good at the line of scrimmage as well. Patient off the line. He's physical. He is a very, very nice corner to add into this room and help out. DJ Turner had a great week, though, versus the Packers. I will say, Turner was excellent this past week, and if he can continue playing like that, all right. That's what I'm vibing with. But Turner was excellent this week. I just got to give him a shout. But Will Lee, Dax Hill in the slot, and then Turner on the other end. On to the Raiders here at 38. I'm going to invest in the offensive line with Vega Ione, the Penn State offensive lineman. It definitely been a very, very solid offense, just like with Drew Shelton. That left side of the O-line has been very good, and Vega has been a key cog for them in that offensive line and that front for guys like Singleton and especially Katron Allen. And I think just in general, they need to invest in the trenches big time. Wide receiver was another thought in my mind at this pick. Jeremy Bernard, there's Chris Brazel on the board. There's some guys I definitely considered at this pick. But at the end of the day, I just said, hey, let's improve this run game as much as possible. It's been a little bit better. And Parham's had some really nice blocks in the run game. Pass protection is still a little iffy at times with Parham, but overall, like, if you got Vega Ione, even if you re-sign Parham to a deal, then you could put JPJ back in the center and put Ione at the other guard spot. And maybe you move Parham back over to more of his native side, or right guard, and then Ione at left guard. Like, just figure it out. I think they need to improve the offensive line. It's such a need for them. On to the Dolphins here, another team that could improve their offensive line. But I'm going to go with Keith Abney here, the second. The corner from Arizona State, the Sun Devil, who is a little bit of a feisty devil for opposing quarterbacks with his ball skills ability, especially coming from off coverage and reading in the eyes and coverage and stuff like that. It's going to depend on their, if they have a new coaching staff, what they're going to look for here. But right now, I would definitely say secondary is a big priority going into the offseason. So let's go ahead and invest that. At least bring some competition in here with Storm Duck. Plus, they're going to need to bring in a free agent as well. On to the Cardinals here at 40. I'm going to take Ipani Laulu here from Oregon, the center. He could also play guard for this team. They need help on that interior. And the way I look at it too, Forho is still under contract and he's a good center. I definitely try to re-up him. But Laulu could play right guard for this team. Isaiah Adams, in my eyes, has really struggled. I'm not ready to fully give up on him, even though I'm picking him here. They need offensive lineup in general, whether this is a right tackle that could play right guard or a right guard that could also be a center developing of the future. You name it. They could use it. I mean, Evan Brown's getting a little bit older now too. They could upgrade there. Either which way, they can figure that out. They need to get stronger on this interior, and I think he fits exactly what they're looking for with an offense, along with a big, strong, physical beast. I can't believe I just called him a beast. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, with all the descriptions out here, I'm not a vocabulariist either, but definitely not a language person. I'll say that. On to the Skull Vikings. I'm taking Jonah Coleman, the beast from Washington. He's going to punish you. I put him in there with Jordan Mason as the 1-2 punch that is going to obliterate defenses for the next several years, hopefully. And I get it. Mason's under contract. This is not what this is. This is trying to build a 1-2 punch because they're going to rotate these guys in. But Coleman and Mason, what a combination that would be. I think Aaron Jones could be cut after the season. Even though he's still a good running back, they might want to save a little bit of money there. And Jonah Coleman would be a nice little replay. If you want a little more speed, then maybe Justice Haynes would be a good compliment here, or Wayman Jordan. It's more of a punisher, good vision guy. Justice Haynes would be more your guy if you're looking for that speed element in the offense. But Coleman's a great football player. I think his speed is a little underrated in general too. Carolina at number 42. I'm going to go ahead and take linebacker Jake Golday. I've been watching a lot of Bearcats film lately, and this guy continues to just shine. And he has been a dude you cannot take your eyes off. Number 11 over there. He plays an interesting role. It's like this overhang linebacker hybrid role. He plays a little in the box, a little bit in slot ability. But he is just so good with his take on ability. He can cover well enough. He's not the most fluid athlete. He's a little bit more of a taller, limber up athlete. But he is just somebody that is always around the football. He makes plays in coverage. Just not many things there that he doesn't do at Cincinnati for the Bearcats, and just a guy that comes in here for the Carolina Panthers, helps them out in both facets of the game. Wallace has had his moments where he's missed some coverage assignments, but he's also made some nice coverage. Like one-on-one, he's decent because he's got good athleticism. He's not the greatest run defender right now, but he does have sideline to sideline range. Goldie is going to be better in the box and stacking and shedding, things like that. And Rosenboom, nice player and everything like that. Once again, had some nice plays this past week. I just still think they could use an upgrade in that linebacker room. I think Golday is a top dog here. On to the G-Men, 43. I'm going to go ahead and take Torian York, another linebacker. And this dude from Texas A&M, he is the definition of hustle, motor, and grit at linebacker. He plays tough. He plays at 1,000% every game. Really hammers dudes there as a run defender. Maybe not the longest guy, and that's probably why he's not going to go this high in the Ultimate League's draft, but I just think his instincts in the run game is excellent. He's not the worst coverage player either. Ultimately going to be a nice little linebacker. Either if you lose Bobby Okereke or Micah McFadden, put him in there and help out this defense even more, even though it's already pretty dang good. You don't have that many needs. Giants are a pretty dang good football team, I'll say that. On to the Ravens here at 44. And you got Amari Washington from Oregon. Amari is a dude that has elite traits. If he can develop those traits, get better at more consistently in shedding blocks and stronger at the point of attack, utilize those 35-inch arms I'm guessing he has. He's got monster length. He is long, he's strong, and he's physical, but he's just not in that. He's not there yet with the strength profile. So I say he's long, strong, but he's got that potential to be a dominant DT with his size. He just needs to continue to work on his technique and getting stronger, probably with more actual play strength. The athleticism, though, with this guy is there, and they need more defensive line help, clearly. At least depth, for sure. On to the Cowboys at 45. I'm going to go and take a safety here, Dylan Thieneman. Going to be a nice coverage player in the back end. He's got great instincts and making big plays throughout the season. Obviously had that game-winning interception versus Drew Aller, but he's not just that. He makes plays around the football, whether it's in the box or deep. I think his coverage skills are really, really good. And adding him in here is going to help out this secondary to be like a Donovan Wilson type replacement for them, or even a Malik Hooker long-term. I think you can fill that Wilson role right away, day one. Let's go on, though, here to Houston Texans at 46, where I'm going to go ahead and take offensive lineman Parker Brailsford, the center at Alabama. I think he's been fantastic this year. Another dude that maybe getting overlooked a little bit because of his size. Yeah, he doesn't have big time size. Would this be somebody that the Houston Texans would go after? Good question. I understand that, but I just think he's too good of a football player and somebody that will be a dude that his leverage he can hold the point of attack despite that lack of size. So find yourself a long-term center. This is one of those things where just don't overthink it. He's great on film. And then we go on to the Atlanta Falcons here, 47. Wow, that one always gets me how fast this runs. And Chris Johnson is the pick, though. San Diego State kid is flying up boards for good reason. He's made so many big-time plays there. Yes, it's a smaller sample competition, but you can only do what you can do for what you're playing. And he's been dominant, and he's a solid athlete as well. I've seen some all-22 now on him thanks to a couple of people out there. Need to give them credit on that. I'm blanking on their names right now. A couple of YouTubers I've actually followed, but yeah, they've definitely helped me out watching Chris Johnson because it's hard to find San Diego State out there tape, and he is a guy that definitely has caught my eye and what he can do. And overall, I think he's very fluid out of his press technique as well. So he's a dude that can play whether it's off coverage, on the line, you name it. Could be a long-term Mike Hughes replacement. Hughes did get beat a little bit this week, so yeah, beat on that deep post. It wasn't all. They were kind of in a cover 4 look, and it made it a little bit tricky. But ultimately, I think Chris Johnson could help them out and another piece into that secondary. They did a good job overall versus Josh Allen. That defense line was able to get home when they needed to at the end of the game and cause some havoc. Broncos, I'm going to take Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker from Texas. Hook 'em! I'm going to help that linebacking room for the future. Singleton's getting a little bit older now and would help them out. Greenlaw injured, and they could use another, Greenlaw, when he comes back, can be that coverage all-around beast, but Hill can be, that punisher at the line. Jacko, that sideline-to-sideline guy. On to the Houston Texans here. Back on the clock. This one's from the Commanders. I'm taking Mateo Uyunglele. Going to be a selection for the Houston Texans. You don't think about it. You're like, why are you going edge rusher? They've got Danielle Hunter. They've got Mr. Anderson. They don't need edge. Well, their depth is really, really thin. And Hunter is going to be going on a contract year in 2027. Maybe this is a case where you draft and develop. Think about the future a little bit. Get a guy with some upside. Mateo Uyunglele. Let's bring him in here. I mean, maybe if you want more upside, then you go with like a Damon Wilson or Joshua Josephs possibly. I think Uyunglele is a great football player, and he's going to be an impact for whoever drafts him. He may not have the elite traits, but I think he's got good solid size, solid length, decent enough explosiveness, and he's really good with his hands. That's the big thing with Mateo, that his calling card is his hand usage. So let's go ahead and ramp up that pass rush even more. Get them some good depth just in case you have injuries, not to mention the future. To the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought about going in a couple of different ways, but I'm going Waffle House. Elijah Surratt from Indiana. Oh, man. Him and Fernando Mendoza on those back shoulders, the connection that they have is insane. Well, we just got Darian Mensah. And if you want to know a thing about Darian Mensah, he throws some excellent back shoulder throws, some sideline throws that are on the money. That connection with Waffle House just makes so much sense. And that's kind of what I want to highlight here with these two, that new pairing. I'm trying to build something that would be a good skill set for both sides. Mensah and Waffle House. Oh, I love it for Pittsburgh. Let's go. I love that, man. Anyway, Surratt's a beast. Hoosier. Let's go. I'm a Hoosier grad. On to 51, the Bears. Justice Haynes. Great night there for DeAndre Swift. But still thinking about this for the future. Haynes, great speed. Okay, maybe not elite, but good speed. All right, and going to be a nice addition to the room with Monangai for the future as your 1-2 punch. Haynes has been an explosive beast this season for Michigan. Yeah, Gesickling had his worst game of the season, but still very, very good running back that is just somebody that comes in right away. I think could be a day one impact for this football team. So, yeah, get Ben Johnson as running back of the future. Wademan Jordan was also an interesting one. He got a little banged up this week. Never good to see, but Mayava, that game, it was crazy. He's going up on that Michigan defense, which is really good. New England, though, at this pick, I'm going to go take Xavier Scott, DB. He plays nickel for Illinois' defense. He's been fighting through his own injuries right now. However, this is the way I see it. There is a real chance, and I think Marcus Jones is fantastic. Another great week. But if they can't pay him, or if they don't want to pay him because you're going to have to pay Gonzo here in a season. All right, he's got his club option, so it'll be down to 5th year. You're paying Carlton Davis. maybe at some point you say, all right, we move on from Carlton Davis. We have Jones and Gonzo, and then you draft another guy. However, I still think like Xavier Scott could play safety for them too. Like he could be that pairing with Woodson. Either which way, whether he plays safety or nickel for them, I'm just going to add another DB. They could use another player in that back end, especially to go along with Woodson. Hawkins had a bit of he was up and down this past week. He had to let one rep go deep, but ultimately, I think Scott would be a nice addition to the secondary. Moving on to the 49ers, back on the clock here. And in the first round, we went Caleb Lomu. Now I'm going to go get Chris Brazzell, the second part of me. Maybe he'll be the third year later on. We'll see him in the NFL later down the line. But now, Chris Brazzell going to be another weapon for this football team. They've had a lot of injuries there. I mean, Kendrick Bourne has had a resurgence, no doubt about it. And I still love Slick Rick. However, with Brandon Ayuk's injuries and stuff like that, and Jawan Jennings being a free agent, adding in one more piece, and especially in a wide receiving class that is really good. And I think Brazzell at this point is kind of like BPA. So I'm going to go ahead and improve the wide receiving room even more and help with some of those injuries. And definitely Brazzell can be a big time playmaker for this football team with that side and a Jawan Jennings role. On to the Jags, though, here with their pick. I am going to be taking a cornerback, Colton Hood, the volunteer here. And I volunteer some help people out there because I've not watched him yet. He's one dude I really need to get around to. I've heard some good things from guys like Broshmo that he's a dog and to watch out for him. And so we'll see how things go, at least just watching his video. I have not talked to Broshmo personally or anything like that, but from watching his videos, he's definitely highlighted Colton Hood. So I'm going to have to go take a look at this guy. And Jags could use another corner. They definitely could on the outside for sure. They traded for Newsome. He got beat immediately, but that's okay. You know, it happens. It's tough. And Sam Darnold was cooking, so there's that. But I'm going to continue to invest in the cornerback room. Newsome is a free agent too. It is still too early, but that's what we're going to do. Detroit, back on the clock. Let's go get that edge rusher. We're going back to the Volunteers. I'm going to take Joshua Josephs, the edge rusher there, who doesn't have the biggest time size, but he's got great arm length. He's got great athleticism, good solid bend. Going to be another pass rusher in this defense with Aiden Hutchinson. A little good 1-2 punch. Beef up that secondary. Beef up the defensive line now. Let's build a roaring defensive line. On to the Chargers. We're trying to build defense as well here. I'm going to go take interior Caleb Banks, who's like a top 10 type of player in this draft if it weren't for the injuries. Hopefully the foot gets checked out, but right now I just don't know what I don't know. The injury things are definitely a big key. If you're not available, then that's going to be really, really tough. He is a really good football player, so I'm just really hoping the injury thing is something that you never want to see with any football player. Injuries, that is always challenging. It derails careers. Banks, though, purely on the film, is a fantastic player. He would be that 3 tech to go along with Caldwell and Tart. I mean, look, Agboigbe's been solid, and they've got some Hand, right? Deshaun Hand also I've seen make some big-time plays for them. Long-term, though, those guys, I think they could use somebody under contract for a future. Let's go on here to the Eagles. Back in the car, going edge rusher Romello Height, a little bit of a surprising move, I'm sure, but I'm going to also surprise some things out here. Jeremy Bernard, the Alabama pass catcher, he's been Mr. Reliable there for Ty Simpson. Solid route runner, solid speed. There's just a lot of things he does well. Solid size. I don't know if there's a high level trait, but I think he's a very good, well-rounded wide receiver that if you trade AJ Brown, which I don't know if that's going to happen. There's a little bit of projection. Could they still use a wide receiver 3? Yeah, possibly. So Bernard could be that guy, and then long-term, he could be your wide receiver 2 with Devontae Smith. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. It's just adding another weapon in Jeremy Bernard. It's always tricky figuring out where to go. I passed on corner just because I felt like, well, you know, there's a lot of corners that have gone off the board, even though corner might be the bigger need out of the two. I just figured, hey, let's go ahead and change it up a little bit. With some of the cornerbacks off the board, we'll go a different route. Same thing here with the Green Bay Packers. I was considering corner. I decided to change it up, though, and go Caleb Tiernan. And this is just a Packers pick, right? Gutekunst saying to himself, a tackle. Let's move him inside, all right? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's exactly what he does. And they've invested in the offensive line, but they continue to invest in the offensive line. Tiernan could end up being Jenkins' replacement at the long haul at center. Who knows, right? I don't know exactly what they're going to want to do yet. The way they work with that offensive line, the offensive line's actually been a little bit of a disappointment for the Packers this season, I feel like, especially on the interior. Tackle position's been fine, but the interior's kind of struggled a little bit. So maybe investing in it, continuing with Jordan Morgan and Aaron Banks hasn't really worked out for them, especially in pass protection. Run blocking's been okay, but pass protection-wise, I don't know. I feel like you struggled a bit. So Tiernan would give an upgrade there. Buffalo, 59. Offensive line's also a big area that I'm looking at. I'm going to go Brian Parker. I've watched Darian Mensah, so inadvertently I've watched Brian Parker. I haven't watched him strictly one-on-one a whole ton, but I have watched him and watched some reps when I'm watching Mensah because I know he's a draft prospect, so I'm keeping an eye out on him over there at right tackle. I think he'll move inside to guard. I don't think he's got the arm length, just like Barton. And whether he plays center, plays guard for this team, that's something, with McGovern, Edwards, free agent contracts. Let's go ahead and improve the offensive line there and invest in it. Next up, the Bucs at number 60. I'm going to go ahead and take linebacker Whit Weeks here. Really good athletic guy that definitely has the range. He's got the coverage ability. If he can continue to get a little bit better, I mean, his instincts aren't perfect in that department, but he can fly all over the football field, and he has the upside to be a good coverage player and somebody that could develop behind Levante David. Hopefully you bring Levante David back some more, please. Levante David is so clutch. He's such a good player. First ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt, in my opinion. On to the Chiefs here at 61. I'm going to go ahead and take Damon Wilson, the pass rusher from Mizzou, Georgia transfer. He's got some traits, right? He made some big-time plays in a tough game versus Alabama. I thought he was definitely a highlight on that defensive line. I also like Young on that defensive line, too. I think he's a good football player as well. Zion Young is number 3 on that defense. I forget, but they're both really good football players out there. Young has a little more size. Wilson's more of a pass rusher type, but I also feel like Wilson can make plays in the run game as well. And for the Chiefs, let's add some more pass rush into this room. That's really what I'm looking at with Wilson here to really bolster up a little bit more with Mike Dana. It could be cut after the season if they want to save a little bit of money. Then we go on here to 62 in the Rams. I'm going to go ahead and take offensive tackle Isaiah World. A lot of upside. He reminds me a little bit Patrick Paul coming out. Good size, solid athlete. He doesn't know how to use his hands. That is a big thing where I don't think he's a year one guy. You would probably want to bring back Rob Havenstein for a season and let World develop for a year. I don't feel comfortable with him starting right away at right tackle. But if you're able to sign Rob Havenstein for another season, says, hey, I want to roll it back one more year with Matthew Stafford, then that would make a lot of sense. And you go and draft Isaiah World to be that developmental right tackle of the future. So that's kind of what I'm seeing with this one. Number 63, the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to go ahead and take safety here, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Nick Cross has been good. He hasn't been perfect in coverage. I have seen him get beat. I think Bynum has been the most solid player in that back end, secondary-wise. Well, safety-wise. All right. I mean, Ward and Moore have been dominant at coverage. They need them back in a hurry. I didn't go corner because I do think, with Ward, Moore, and also Wally, they invested in the draft and a 3rd-round pick. So you've got 3 guys in the secondary. And you could also add in free agency if you need to. But I still think you would add in the draft since you've got, more of a youth. You add more youth movement there. But Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is a guy that's going to get risen up boards very, very soon when people start talking about this guy. Very good athlete. He's a Chris Ballard mold, freakish athlete, in my opinion. Not elite like linear speed, but he has moved up, rocked. Like he has got some twitch for his size, especially. He's a fluid dude that can cover, can play all across the field, and be a Nick Cross replacement if they don't want to re-sign him. Since they're paying Bynum, maybe it makes sense to bring in a rookie here to be able to be on a cheap contract. Then we go on to 64 here for Seattle, where I'm going to select an edge rusher, Anton Saka, as his name would present. He's a sack artist. He's a speedster. And if they don't bring back Boye Mafe, which I don't see why they wouldn't, at least on a franchise tag, my view on this is DeMarcus Lawrence getting a little bit older now. He still makes a play. He had a really good week, too, versus the Jags defensive line. I thought he made a lot of plays there, number 0. I also look at this, and I'm saying Chinonso Nwosu's expensive after this offseason. They could cut him and save like $12 million. And I love Nwosu. I mean, he is, a locker room guy, too. I hear nothing but good things about Nwosu. He's fought through injuries. He is a tough-nosed guy. So I'm not saying you have to cut him, but Saka could be a developmental guy behind those type of players with Derek Hall, Boye Mafe, and then Saka. That would be your rotation of 3 for the long haul. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at here. And just continue. It's just a little bit of a different pick. I thought we'll change it up a little bit. Even though secondary is definitely something they could also use. I just didn't feel like, once again, with the secondary players on the board right now, didn't want to force that pick. I thought Saka was kind of like that next available upside guy off the edge that they could use a position of area to watch out for with some of the contracts and free agents and stuff like that. Anyway, that's going to do it for the mock draft, the 2-round Tuesday. I apologize for no mock Monday. I had a technical glitch with my OBS recording, it just all of a sudden like stopped recording on OBS, and I'm like, oh no. So I was just talking to myself basically, nothing was recording. And yeah, so I apologize about that. I don't know. I'm gonna start doing double recordings now to make sure we got everything set up there. So we hopefully it don't happen. But I hope you guys have a really good day. Thanks for just rocking with me and always you've been really kind. You don't need to be, hit me hard or something like that. I definitely appreciate all the kindness and support and stuff like that. It means a lot, and I love the draft and stuff. So I know I don't say it enough and everything, but it's something that's really helped me out a lot. The draft content and everything, I love doing it, and it makes things a big difference. So I do appreciate all you guys and stuff. And yeah, I'll talk to you later though. And not to get all good, get the oatmeal out here. I still got my box of oatmeal ready to go. I'll talk to you guys later. Keep it cool.